What's up, everybody? It is 7:30 Pacific. August, my God, April 17th.
Wow.
And I am so excited today. Like, you can't even believe. We have an exclusive on Packaging Today show. We've got Katy Perry coming straight coming back from space. Katy, how was it?
Okay, listen. I was just wearing my Adidas jacket. I mean, it was awesome. Space.
You looked scared.
Here's
You did.
before we get into the show, you look just like Katy Perry, and I was like, "What are you talking about? I haven't watched it. I had no idea." These jokers are just like, "We're gonna talk about Katy Perry." I'm like, I had to go look on the Googles about her space exploration.
Can you tell us, because we are friends here?
Yeah.
Like, did you actually go anywhere, or was this all a conspiracy?
Right. Were you just in Utah the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet mother of goodness. I'm just coming back to report that the Earth is in fact flat.
Oh, Hugh knows. Hugh's a.
Right. So,
if
you got
packaging, I don't want to talk about this garbage.
So if you
what are we talking about today, Avelio?
If you've got questions about,
should I take this off so we're not talking about Katy Perry or
Katy Perry?
Talk about the packaging school.
Yes.
Supply chain champion 2015.
Packaging school. Late.
NCAA champs. Perfect. Hey,
I'm with this crap.
Besides Katy Perry, we've got Corey Connors,
Good morning.
Podcast host. What are we talking about today? We're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about tariffs, my dog,
your dog,
and
stickers.
Labels. Are they stickers or are they stickers?
Packaging. Hercules. Avelio, you'd be proud though. Yesterday, I cut myself off for the intro.
He did.
Nice.
It was perfect.
It was
Nailed
great.
it.
Awesome. See, like, what do we got? We got Richard Moniz coming in saying hey to Hugh. Hugh knows Richard. This is a community.
Packaging community family.
The world of packaging.
It really is. Let us know what you guys are watching from. Any questions you got on packaging? Let's go. Yesterday, I wasn't on, but you two guys covered a few things, and one of the questions was,
we nailed it pretty much.
Of course you did.
You got fired, actually. I did. We wanted to tell you before. But
so what was the conversation?
We ended the conversation with a question from a friend of the show, Matt Burns, and Matt said, "Am I wrong? Is it wrong that I am excited about not excited? I think it's like that. I think tariffs are a good thing. I think is what he said."
Right.
And so we were like, "Well, we spent a lot of time talking about how it's been problematic. What are some things that could be positive about, especially if you are an American manufacturer
from our point of view, right?
Yeah. So not from an economic point of view, because we're not economists, but from a packaging standpoint, what could be good? Sustainability, could it be good for American workers? Like what would be good about that? Corey Connors, Sustainable Packaging Podcast host.
I think there are some positive things potentially here. It could bring business back to America. It could spark the economy here that we certainly need. If the negative effects aren't so negative as they say.
Don't go negative. Stay positive.
I'm really trying to be positive about this. I'm trying to scrape any positive things out of here. I think that's what they're trying to do is bring business back to the U.S. But they've done it in such an abrasive way. I don't know if it's possible. But
stay positive.
Yeah.
So is it good for the country in the long run? What do you think?
Probably not.
Yeah, it's going to go away.
They will
because,
have to roll them back if they want to do business globally. We are in a global economy. You look around, everything that we're wearing, everything that we're using is made internationally or has components from international suppliers. My glasses, my headphones, my shirt, the brick behind me. Who knows? Who knows all of these things, where they were made, where the components are from. We're too ingrained now with the internet. We can't stop. It's not possible to just close the borders. Yeah, not possible.
I have a point to make, and
Okay.
I heard this from I've been trying to consume a lot of media from sort of both sides of the conversation to try to have at least something that's a balanced viewpoint on this. So the one thing was there are countries that subsidize manufacturing. Therefore, it makes it difficult for a company in the Midwest to compete with a fully subsidized manufacturing arm, and that is not a level playing field for American manufacturing. And so tariffs, though I don't think it's like, let's just broadly put them out there, I don't think it was the best execution, but the idea of tariffs to level the playing field so that American manufacturers can have some hope of competing on some levels. It's not like we don't manufacture stuff in the US. We're the second largest exporter of manufactured goods in the world behind China. We do manufacture stuff here. That was a positive thing that I heard, was that if there are governments subsidizing their own manufacturing, then we can sort of negate those subsidies through a tariff policy that would then help, especially within packaging, would help us make things a bit more competitive here.
Can I say something stupid?
You do all the time. So just
the answer is yes. We know that.
We're putting tariffs in place because other countries subsidize manufacturing. Why don't we subsidize manufacturing? Why? And this isn't a political show, or we are definitely not economists, but
it would be a way to do it, right?
When we look at like Tesla, about 8-9 years ago, they were looking to be they asked to be subsidized here in the US.
They were subsidized.
They want to be produced here, but the amount that was being offered wasn't sufficient. But China said, "Come on in," and production moved over there. And of course, as is, the role is everybody learns the process. Everybody learns how to execute this car, and all of a sudden, they've got more people working on it than build their own version of this to compete. I mean, that seemed like that would have been something we would have wanted to keep here. This is not a
state to state, right?
Yeah.
They moved from California to Texas because it was more favorable for their tax policies and for their, like you said, subsidies.
I do think though that while there's a lot of complexity here. This isn't a tariff talk show, right? But maybe we could turn into it. But
Tune in live to Tariff Thursdays.
The positive, I think that there is a component of this that can be positive for American manufacturers, specifically if you are in, say, like flexible packaging, where we have manufacturers here. There are manufacturers in like Korea, Taiwan, China that are making bags, Indonesia, India, that will ship over here. And maybe I think that the tariffs are starting to swing that. I've actually seen more people onshoring their flexible packaging printing because the tariffs made up for that delta, which is helpful for people here. So I don't want to be like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. How dare anybody think this is a good idea? It's okay that there are good things. For me, I think the bad outweigh the good. But there are components of this that are positive, specifically within certain areas. Folding cartons, flexible packaging. We're not importing a lot of corrugated in terms of the finished boxes. We make those here. Like complicated rigid setup boxes with magnets and LED lights. We're not going to make those here. So that's not going to level any playing field. It's going to make it more expensive. That's my point on it. But I do want to talk about your AI bot, Avelio. When can we talk about that thing?
Oh, yeah.
How we're all going to be out of business.
But one thing with tariffs though is that even if people are onshoring their flexible packaging, they didn't do it before because of the cost. Because it was cost prohibitive. Now they've onshored it. It's still more expensive than what they were doing before overseas. So who's going to pay for that?
But what's happened within that segment, just so is that it introduces capitalistic market pressure in the US. And so now there are US manufacturers who before wouldn't even bid on it. Now they're competing against each other, which is bringing down that cost delta a little bit. And so I do think that there is a positive component to it.
The other thing the one thing that I've been finding is that
Chris, where is your comment? We can't see your comment, but we believe Hugh. Chris, you're always 100% correct.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Hugh is suspect.
Maybe he was talking to Katy Perry.
Gonna put the jacket back on.
But the thing with that, what I've seen in terms of people onshoring is that U.S. manufacturers don't have the capacity at the moment for some of these projects where they're now like, oh, we can't take on 1 million units of X that you were doing overseas.
Massive
and
shift.
Massive.
Yeah.
Right. Because people aren't offshoring low volume. They're they're offshoring high volume. We just haven't done that kind of thing in the US. So now all of a sudden you've got multiple people quoting the same type of project at high volume, and it's going to cost more. Now, is that going to mean that these companies are now going to say no to some of these smaller projects that was their bread and butter in the past? These are things that can definitely become an issue. It's not something that's been thought through.
Yeah. All right. What do we want to do, Avelia? Do we want to punt on this thing till tomorrow, or jump into labels or packaging podcast?
No. Let's try this thing. Let's give this a shot. We can quit anytime. So there's a question on.
I quit.
The question on labels and stickers. So
let's take a step back. What is this program?
Yeah, let me tell you what we did here.
I just want to be clear, like, who is killing the environment by playing around with AI, and that's Avelio. So you don't care about people is what I'm trying to say. But continue.
Okay, you just took a trip out into space for fun. You took a little ride, a joyride.
Listen, I had to go see, and it's flat.
11 minutes.
It's flat like an RSC laid flat. That's the Earth. It's a flat RSC.
All right, so what I did is I did some deep research with Gemini. So Google's AI bot, I asked it to research labels and create an argument for labels being packaging and an argument for labels being stickers or packaging accessories. It did a ton of research. I dragged all that information into Google's Notebook LM, which creates a podcast. But the interesting thing is that you can actually go into the podcast that it's created and ask it questions. So it becomes a call-in show. Why is this cool and why does it matter? If you're running, if you're walking, if you're doing, your everyday stuff, you can take a bunch of articles, you can have some customer questions, you can throw it into deep research, have it research this, throw it into Google. It literally takes like 2-3 minutes to put this thing together. And you can now have a conversation about the topics that you're trying to learn about. And for me, being able to talk it through definitely makes things a little bit easier.
Or is it actually, part of the packaging?
It seems like a small detail, doesn't it? But how we answer that actually has some pretty big consequences.
Right. Like it affects costs, how things are made, even how sustainable products are. It touches a lot.
Exactly.
So we've gathered a bunch of different perspectives, kind of like a shortcut to help make sense of this whole thing.
Our mission today really is to unpack these different viewpoints, try and get a clear picture of what role the label really plays. Our listeners got something to share. Let's hear it.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question. Are labels packaging or are labels just stickers? Let's just get to it. That's a little slow.
We're going to keep our job for a while.
I think so.
Oh, thank you, robots.
I'm going to take a nap. See you guys.
See, that part stinks.
I'm gonna fly to space with my flower.
Yeah, the guy does sound like Adam.
Well, it's a live show.
Yeah.
Huge potential.
You
Huge
tuned in for
potential.
another. Oh, hey, I think our listeners got something to say.
Are labels packaging or not?
Great idea, Velio.
All right.
I quit this show. This show stinks. Worst show ever.
What?
Here, guys. What are we freaking doing here? Talking to robots about labels.
So that it didn't work right off. I'm probably doing something wrong here, but I think it's definitely something you guys should check it out. Yeah, Notebook LM has a.
Oh, there's Chris. Chris, you're 100%
they're
right.
intimidated by us. Absolutely. As a designer, she considers some packaging.
Yeah, like check this out. Shout out to the best kombucha in Salt Lake City. This is a standard.
What's it
If
called?
this was just
Mama
if this
Chari?
glass, Mama Chari. If this glass was just sitting there on the shelf, there's no UPC code, there's no marketing. It's just a glass bottle until you put the label on it, because labels are packaging.
You can etch.
No,
You can etch the artwork on it. You can etch the UPC. You can put
can't.
the UPC on the lid.
not if you're Mama Chari kombucha, the best kombucha in Utah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can definitely do that.
You guys are
Heck
so
yeah. I mean, you go to space, you take a daisy, you're drinking kombucha. You are so LA.
Listen, I'm already late for my hot yoga class, so I'm sick of Gemini AI trying to. mimic my
Namaste, Adam.
voice.
Yeah.
Namaste.
All right.
Just gotta
We'll
go.
try it again. I think it's definitely something
Anyway.
interesting to check out. But
My Chinese-made electric car and
Yeah, packaging a week tomorrow. Send us ideas.
yeah, we'll try it out. We got some stuff. We'll see you guys.
Bye. Wrong ending.